Welcome to IQ Central Dialogue, guys. It's another episode with me, your host, Hassan Manjang. Today, our guest is Kebba Faal. Kebba currently he's a player and a coach. We're gonna get into that. He's on his Bill Russell, so we'll see how that goes. The whole point of today's conversation, just want to get into the feel of the local playing scene in Gambia, understanding a bit more about what it takes, some intricate stuff that we might not necessarily know being outside of the scope. And then just learning about Keba's own experiences. And, we hope this resonates. So whoever tunes in with us on IG or whoever's watching on YouTube live as well, we thank you for joining in for another episode and we hope you enjoy. So with that being said, you've won medals as a player, then you transitioned into coaching pretty early. And what I find interesting is that you didn't fully leave the game. So, I kind of want to start and ask you, first of all, guys, as I said earlier, we are talking to Kebba Fall. Kebba, as I mentioned, is, mimicking Bill Russell. Bill Russell was a player and a coach, for those of you that don't know. It seems like, we have our own Gambian version of Bill Russell. That should be the clip name. Gambia Bill Russell does interview with IQ Central. But yeah, let's start there. What was your first realization that you were seeing basketball differently from other people?
Well, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings to you, Hassan, and to Mustafa Barrow. I'm glad to be here. All this while, Mustafa have been telling me to come on this podcast, to share with you guys, all the people watching, about how I'm managing being a coach and being a player as well. Yeah, so it's not an easy journey, though, honestly speaking. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, tell
you
us
know.
about you first. Let's start with you. Let's start with the person, Keba Fall. Like, who are you? What's your background? Is red your favorite color? Like, just tell us about you. Let's start there.
Well, yeah, I am Kebba Faal. I am from Dipakunda. Yeah, raised by my mom and dad. Have three siblings, all female. I love them so very much. They mean the world to me. Yeah, I
Nice.
lost my dad 2 years ago. May his
Oh,
soul
sorry
rest
to
in
hear.
perfect peace. Yeah, he was one of my
Inshallah.
best motivators. He was supporting me in every single way just to get to this higher level. But sometimes I feel sad because he's not here to witness all of this. But I'm praying for him every single day. You know.
Hmm.
No, blue is my favorite color, but I just wore this one. It has the Gambian
Oh,
name in it.
Gambia. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Gotta represent. Gotta represent.
yeah, so,
Absolutely.
so when we were traveling to Guinea, these were the t-shirts we had.
Okay.
So yeah,
Stand
I
up.
just
Let's see the
decided
shirt.
to
Let's see the
yeah,
t-shirt. Let's see the whole t-shirt.
keep it
Okay,
right
nice,
there.
nice, 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 nice,
So,
nice.
so I
Okay,
came from
cool.
Dipakunda, a very peaceful neighborhood. Yeah, so all my life I've been here with my
Okay,
family.
nice. So then, Gambia is a pretty football first nation, right? So how did you get into basketball? I'm always interested because for me, obviously like because I grew up outside of Gambia, like that's how I got into basketball. It was easier to find basketball communities. But like in Gambia, every time I went back, I would be like one of the only kids who wanted to play basketball because everyone wants to go and play outside. Like, so how did you find basketball?
Well, you can't be in Gambia and not play football. That's a rare,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Because we grew up seeing football first. That's the only sport we know. And my father was a football player too. He was a
Mhm,
sportman, so he was a
mhm.
football player. He was well known. So I had love for football. I was playing football for a couple of years. Then I had a cousin brother. His name is Babu Karsisi. He
Nice.
once played for Serekunda East.
Okay.
So he was the one who was playing basketball. So he got me inspired, forcing me to play the game. Every time he's going to the court, he takes me with him. So I started falling in love with the game. Then there come a time he does not go for practice. Then I would just borrow his ball, go to the court, try to see how best I could make myself better. You know,
Mm-hmm.
then as time goes on, I started having love for the game. I'm like, yeah, I think this is way better than football. Man, I'm gonna quit.
That's what's
You
up.
know, then the basketball game became part of my life. You know, so I fell in love with it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I think like one of the things that like I was always taught and just things that I've seen throughout my career as a basketball player and transitioning out of the game and things like that. You have to have a genuine love for the sport. You know, they always say if you do something you love, you feel like you don't work a day. That's not quite true. Even if you love it, it's still gonna feel like work, but
Yeah,
like it's just not gonna feel like soulless, you know, soulless, soul tiring work. It will be inspirational. It'll lift you up, but like it still takes a lot of effort to dedicate that much to the game. And I think you saying that, you know, you fell in love with the game first is important. A lot of people now play basketball for the wrong reasons, maybe to go viral or but at the end of the day, to be able to do all the things that come with basketball, you first have to just be in love with the game. So nice to hear you, start there. But okay, let's get back into, a little bit more about your basketball story. So from what I saw, you started coaching in 2016, but that's super early because you're still
yes.
competing. So I guess my question to you is what? Because I remember where I was in 2016. There's no way I was gonna try to coach. I was right now, like I'm at the end of my playing career. Like I still like playing, but like I don't know what's coming next in terms of that. But 2016, there's no way you could talk to me about coaching. Like I was trying to go to the NBA. So my question to you is, what pushed you into coaching at such an early age, and how have you balanced it now, almost 10 years, or 10 years actually? Uh, by being a player at the same time at a very young age.
Well, like I said in the beginning, it's not an easy job. It's really
Hmm.
not an easy task. It all started when SN Together was being formed at O2, you know. So we were one of the kids that were helping people like Jim, Francis Gomez, and the like. So we were the ones helping the kids, trying to make sure they get better. Because when I started playing basketball, I was coached by a Peace Corps volunteer named Justin Jarrett. We call him here the local name of Yankuba Sise. So he was the one teaching me
That's
these.
the name I know him by. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he was the one teaching us these basic fundamentals in basketball. So he was the first coach that took a board, started drawing plays on the board. That was the first time me seeing that in a basketball game in Gambia. So through that, I started having this experience, you know. Then I started reaching out to people, reading books, watching tapes, you know. Then I had a partner. His name is Laminjo. So I was looking up to him because by then his work ethic was crazy. He has a very good work ethic and he loves helping people, especially women. Because when we were in the high school team, he was the one training the girls. So I was looking up to him. From there, I said, hey, I think I'm gonna do the same too. So that's where I started helping these kids during this Ascent Together program from 2016. But I took it way seriously in 2018.
Okay. Tell us more
Yeah,
about that. Tell us more about
yeah,
that.
because by then I was playing, so I was not fully focused on coaching because I was working with Ascent Together and I
You're
do
working
train
with
these
who?
kids.
Sorry, you're working with who?
Ascent Together.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, but in 2018, I took it way more serious because by then there was no game for us. The league got boycotted by the coaches here, so
What
there was
happened? Why did the
some
league get boycotted?
well, they had some issues with the federation, so they decided to boycott the league.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, it really damaged the game though, because you could see we sat for some couple of years. There was no league for people like me, and
How
by
long
then
did
I
the
was
boycott like how long did that situation last?
well. It took almost 2 years, something like that, 2 to 3 years, if I'm not wrong.
So
You
what
know,
happened in the 2, 3 years? No basketball?
yeah, no basketball. All of the kids were playing, but for us, the seniors, no game. So it kills. Honestly, for me, it killed my spirit. Because by then my work ethic was crazy, and I could say I was in my prime because according to the ones who were taking these MVP stats, they said I was second after Yankee. So it was crazy, and it made me really emotional because I never knew that I was top five in Gambia by then, and because I was young, you know. But I just wanted to be one of the best. So from there, I started being a coach, helping some kids. I had almost 30 something kids that were under us in Kotu, but I was responsible with one of my mates, Lamin Toure and Lamin Job. So, and Adam Abaro, who is currently now in Serekunda West. We were the ones helping the kids. So,
Okay.
that
Was
was the first
before,
time me being a head coach and went up to the semifinals and we lost.
but was there a moment where first of all, thanks for sharing. It's tough to hear a situation where, your seasons get taken away from you in your prime. I can
Yeah.
definitely relate to that pain. I had a couple moments in my career, both in university and, when I started playing overseas, had a couple moments where, things were out of my control and it hurts, right? Like you have an
It,
emptiness, you
yeah,
have
it
an
hurts.
emptiness.
Yeah, but it
Uh,
weighed me down. To be honest with you, it really weighed me down.
it weighs you down. It makes you depressed. Like food doesn't taste as good. You don't sleep as good. You start looking at all the workouts you ever did, and oh my gosh, I could have done so much other things with my time. It's painful. But okay, important lesson here. Before you get to the point of being a coach, you have to find a way to remotivate yourself and believe in yourself again and start to dream again and set new goals. How did you do that? Because that situation of being an athlete and losing that is so painful. How did you find a new identity?
Well, because when I was helping these kids, some of them be like, "Coach, I want you to train me because I want to be like you." And I'm like, "Well, then I have to still continue training and try to get in shape." Well, it took a lot of time because I sat for almost 3 years that I was not training to be honest. I was just playing around, you know, because after that I kind of lost interest in the game because
Yeah.
I felt like, you know, there's no future. But later on, when you see kids coming up, they're growing and they're playing, I'm like, nah, I don't want what happened to me happen to these kids. So, and in my court, we have kids looking up to us, and I have to be there and try to be the same person I was 3 years ago. I might not reach that level, but at least I can be 50 or
Show
60%
them
of
something visual, like a visual proof of, yo, you might not make your goals, but you can still keep going. You can still keep
so,
chasing. I mean,
so,
that's admirable. Now, my question to you is, before you get, because now we're getting close to the coaching part of the conversation, right? Like learning. Before we get there, when you were still playing at your prime, was there a moment you had to choose between player or coach before the federation boycotted? Or was it like even, or were you more of a player?
Now, when I was a player, I was just focused on being a player,
Okay,
nothing
so
else.
that federation boycott is what changed it for you. Okay. Do you think being a player gave you an advantage as a coach? Because this is one of the things I argue with a lot of my friends, like me and my boys sometimes. There's some coaches, like I'm forgetting what school right now, but there's a coach at a D1 school in March Madness right now who didn't even play high school basketball. But as I said, he's coaching at March Madness, so he clearly knows the game, right? And there's some guys I know there's a guy I know right now, one of the best coaches in Canada, best trainer, skill trainers. His name is Ajin. And Ajin, he didn't play in high school. He didn't competitively. He didn't play in college competitively. And then he got into the training game late, but he always loved basketball. Going back to your initial point, fall in love with the game first. Then he was a meticulous learner. Remember how I said, if you work every day, it doesn't feel like work, it's not true. He's a meticulous worker. He worked incredibly hard. He learned the game, and now Ajin trains NBA players and is a trainer on on Team Canada's coaching staff. And this guy is a guy that never played competitive basketball, you know. So it goes to now on the flip side of this. I'm talking to someone like you, and I'm talking about basketball as a whole, right? You played basketball. I also think that players have a different eye for the game than a coach does because as a player, you might be like trapped full court, but you think you have a lane going baseline, even sorry, going sideline, even though you're not supposed to go sideline, but you've been a player. You're like, yo, the guy guarding me is slower. I'm just gonna blow by him. Like, coach, I know it's not the press break, but like, just rock out with me. You know I can do this. You know what I mean? Like player coaches, they're not always gonna get mad at you in that situation, but not this, you know what I mean? So I want to get your take on it. Like, as a player, do you think that gave you an edge in understanding and getting respect from players under you and vice versa? Like, or did it make it harder?
Well, it made it easier because you could
Why?
see that like coaching philosophy is more about more than a playbook. It's the foundation set of values that guides how you lead. It helps you reach to the just it helps you know how to react under pressure. You know, so during my time, you could see whenever I'm coaching because right now I'm coaching a female team in D1, Kotu Blue Ninjas. That's the only team I'm coaching right now, but the other kids are just grassroots level in grade 7. But it helps me improve a lot because you could see as a player, I play one, I play two. That's a point guard, a shooting guard. It helps me talk to my players to be able to understand what the other teams are bringing up on the table. Like for example, if I have a guard that knows how to shoot, that knows how to dribble, that knows how to drive, and seeing the other teams players, like if they have these point guards, because you could see most of our Gambian players are right-handed. We just
Most
have
players in
few
the
players that
world, most players in
yeah,
the
it's
world,
good. So some of the times they have tight handles on the right, on the left hand side they're weak.
a little shaky. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have players that only have few spots they take shots. You
Yeah.
understand? Yeah. So during this time, it really helped me open up my game as a coach as well. I could study the game because I watch tapes. I always try to watch tapes, my games, and even order try to go and watch other games as well. You know, it really helped even me to be a coach and a player because most of the times whenever I play, I watch myself. That's how I develop myself. And when I became a coach, it became way more easier for me. That's the reason why whenever I'm playing, you think that I'm LeBron James or something. Well, it's just watching my games that's helped me a
Mhm.
lot in
Mhm.
having this level 1 certificate as a coach.
Okay, let's talk about that. So walk me through this level one and this FIBA WA or WBAC certificate. Like, first of all,
WABC.
what are they? And then I want to know three things. What are they? How did you get them? Like, tell us the process. And what changed for you after you got them? So the first question is, what are they?
Well, they are the FIBA WABC level 1 coaching certificate. You know, I would say it's just the grassroots of being a coach. Just to understand the mindset, the disciplinary part. You know, to be able to work with your coaches as well. You know, that's the start of it because we have level 1, we have level 2, we have level 3. So we
What's the
were
difference between the three levels?
well for now. I'm not sure about the other levels, but for the level 1, it's just the grassroots. It's more technical. But I know from
When you say
I
technical, what do you mean?
like knowing how to coach players, like the age groups. It's like here in most of the in Gambia, most coaches don't know like how we're supposed to coach the age groups because we're supposed to have the age groups because we have something like the foundation development and the performance. You understand? So every age has because we have coaches that focus more on winning than the development of the players. Because kids need to develop. In academic games, you're not supposed to focus on winning. What you're supposed to focus on is the development of the player. Because if you force the kids to execute the right way, the win will come eventually. You understand? So we are really facing that problem with some of these coaches here because only few of us have this level one. So most of these coaches are just with these local trainings for now.
Mm,
So
okay.
that's it.
How did you get these certifications?
Well, we were notified by the federation, you know, because you have to have some couple of years of experience to be in these um,
Places.
coaching course. Yeah. So we were called up. I think they gave us almost 1 month notification that the
Who's
FIBA instructor
okay, okay.
will be coming here to the Gambia, and we were taken to Macau, one of the hotels there. That's where we were doing the course.
Mm,
You know. Mm.
okay. Nice, nice. And then what changed for you after you got this?
But when I got this, well, it really, 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 really helped me by giving me a lot of experience,
Mm.
especially when I'm playing. Like I could study the game way better than before. Now, like I could help the kids in some of their weak sides. Like I could adjust on their shooting mechanism, their footwork, their dribbling, their defense.
Mm,
So I'm really trying to get better though, because I
mm,
feel like just having this level is not enough for me.
mm,
Because I'm still a student of the game and I want to get way better than this. So I'm
mm.
still in the learning process to get to the highest level.
No, that makes sense. And then Um, okay, that makes sense. I'm glad you kind of got into that because that was where I wanted to like really get into. But now I want to go back to your Blue Ninja stuff. When you were
Okay.
there, just explain your journey. Were you a part of the building of Kotu Blue Ninjas? Did you just play on the team? Were you a part of the first coaching staff? Because what was that like? And at the beginning, what were some of your biggest challenges? Was it talent? Was it structure? Was it respect as a coach? Because you're still young and playing. Um, and then what moment did you feel like this is actually working?
Well, Blue Ninjas was formed by this Peace Corps I was telling you about just in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was in the same school that team was. So we were part of the school team players.
Hmm.
So there was a trial going on the court. They called for trial, so many people came, tried their best, and few got selected. You know, Mohamed Jimjai, who was on this last podcast, was one of those players there.
Mm.
So yeah, so we were the young players. We were called the mosquitoes because by then we were small.
Yeah,
Yeah, we played together for just 1 year, and the team dissolved.
I see. And
So
then
yeah,
then you told me about. I see.
yeah,
Okay.
when it dissolved. So I went to play for Serekunda East with some of with Amo, and we were five in number, so we scattered for 1 year. Then the following year, we decided to came back and form the team together.
That makes sense. I mean, I think the biggest theme with you is consistent movement, consistent improvement, consistent bettering yourself, like no space for mediocre effort. You always have to be putting your best foot forward. You always got to be, you know what I mean? And I think like that's something that people can really take from this. Like in life, you've always got to be willing to take a step forward. You can't just take what comes at you. You've consistently got to keep pushing. So I'm glad that you've shown us that with your just even this journey from going to Seracunda East. But then if you look back, you're literally a coach and a player, like the two opposite ends of the basketball spectrum. So, I'm glad that you were able to get there. Now, going to this idea of your young coach leading older peers, this is the thing that interested me the most about talking to you. You're a young coach in a space, because Gambia, the thing about us, we have a culture where you have to respect older people, right? But you are a young coach. So a lot of the people that you're talking to are older than you who are not your players, maybe opposing coaches, and you have to go into games and you have to beat these coaches. and you have to, finish the game, shake their hand, and they're coming to you, but they might be annoyed that look at this young guy who's, like, how do you command respect as a coach coaching in a space where the culture wants you to, not necessarily step on that older person's toes, but this is also competition. And you have to be a leader of men because you're leading, a team. How do you balance that?
Well, earning respect, it has to start from you. You got to respect yourself first as a human being. The moment
Oh,
you respect yourself, you're gonna get the respect back from every single individual. In my basketball journey, that was what I was trying to put in myself, try to respect myself, so that whenever I go, I still receive that respect from other people.
mm,
So to be honest, in my basketball career right now, being a coach and a player, I don't think I've struggled with something like that, like having like playing with older coaches or older players, because I don't think I've coached any player that is older than me right now. Well, there might be. Well, I
okay.
don't think so. But for the coaches, yeah, I have coaches way, way, way older than
So
me.
how do you deal with that? How do you like sit in rooms with other coaches and you give your input and they listen? Like for example, if let's say you go to the federation one day or whatever coaching conference, and they're all talking about their experience, and then it comes to you, and now you're the youngest in the room. Have you been in that situation? And if you
Yes,
have,
sir.
how have you managed in that situation?
Well, it's just about trying to, work on the game to get better. Because in Gambia, that's what we want. Because I focus on the interest of the game, not my personal interest.
I see.
So whenever it comes to that part, now I'm only focused on what we can do to make sure we get this Gambian basketball to the highest level.
We
I,
over
I
me mentality.
exactly. I always try to think outside of the box. Yeah, so I just look at it that way. Sometimes, yeah, we just argue with one another, because everybody has his own perspective, and people are not the same. But whenever we get into these kind of issues, I always try to see what we can do to make
Mm.
sure we put this basketball to the highest level because that's what we are fighting for.
Okay, I mean that's perfect because that leads to my next question. What is that? What is it that we can do? You said that that's what you guys talk about, right? What you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, what in your opinion, what would you say is the starting point? Like in 2026, what can we do? Because you're right now, you are known for developing young talent in Gambia. So, what do you think most young players in Gambia are missing right now? Is it skills? Is it mindsets? Is it exposure? Is it structure? Is it everything? How would you rank it? Let's hear your thoughts.
Well, I could say we have kids with talent, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, because like talent is just like an entry ticket for you to reach the highest level. But
Yep.
talent alone won't take you to the highest level because you must have a discipline, you must have a crazy mindset, and the education as well.
Hmm.
So you understand? Yeah, I could say these are some of the pillars that could take you to the highest level because the discipline is the consist. If you don't have discipline, you will never be consistent. You understand? You will never be consistent because the discipline gives you the work ethic to train to get better and the mindset. You need to be coachable. Whenever you're coachable, the coaches rely on you. You understand? So it's crazy because in short, I would say the talent is the foundation, and the discipline comes with the work ethic and the education. That's just the strategy because you need to know how to read and write, and it improves your game IQ. We need stuff like that, because we need to teach these kids discipline, work on their mindsets because we have kids with crazy mindsets.
I'm so happy you
Can-
said that. I'm so happy you differentiated the two because, and I just want to hammer that point home. You essentially said, as an athlete, you need to have a delusional mindset to believe that you could be as successful as possible, as humanly possible. But as a person, you need to have a discipline-oriented mindset to ensure that you practice the work ethic to get you to achieve the delusional mindset that you have in your athletic pursuits. So I hope you guys take that in from Keba. Then I guess Keba, my second question to you would be, if you could fix one thing in Gambian basketball development right now, just one thing, if you could fix one thing, like right now you snap your fingers and it's not a problem, what would it be? One problem only. I know it's too many problems, but just one problem.
Yeah, putting our personal interests aside, the nation first.
Meaning,
Like putting our personal interests aside.
no, I understand, but
Be-
elaborate on your answer.
Oh, because from my experience, like some of us are looking at what's into them than what's in for the nation.
Okay, what is in for the nation though? What would be an answer that would make you say this answer supports the nation?
Well, you could see right now when it comes to Gambian basketball here, it's not easy. Because to be honest with you, the government is really not supporting the nation here. Everything you see here, we're struggling. Coming to these national trainings, these club sides, these national league, we just love the game. You understand? But I believe the way to go further is by not fooling each other and being honest with each other. You know, because
But
I feel
honest
like
about what? Like, what are people
yes,
fooling each other about?
yeah, I feel like if I'm doing something wrong, talk to me
Mm,
rather than spreading misinformations. You
mm,
understand? It's killing the game. You understand? But when you're talking to me, talk to me nicely with discipline so that I can listen to you.
I
It
see.
has to go with respect. You understand? Because I feel like so many misinformations are going because we are here, we know what's going on, but sometimes you hear some informations that are really crazy. You don't even know where they come from. But we
Mm,
just, keep on doing what we're doing because we just want to make sure we get to where other countries are getting to because you can see Senegal is with the ball. They have Seed Academy, they have NBA Academy. So the D1 players are being paid. Even now they have D3. You know, we just recently have D1 and D2, which is a very big plus in Gambian basketball because we were only playing in one league. Now we have this D2. These academic tournaments are about to start. So that's what we want. But to get to that level, we must help each other out.
mm.
That's the only way we can get to the level we want to get. But if not that, we're just gonna stick
No,
to the same hole.
I'm glad that you specified that because, like in South Africa, they have the concept of like Ubuntu, right? Which stands for like
Family,
helping everybody, community coming
yeah,
together.
family.
Yeah, you're hip, you know what it is. So we need to realize as not only just Gambians, but as Africans, and that's the reason why we're really doing all this stuff, to unite people, to come together, to achieve great things. We all have to support each other. And I think if
Yeah.
we have that unity or community-based approach, then like for me, I live in Toronto, right? Like I'm wearing a Raptors jersey right now. I live in Toronto.
Mhm.
Like Canadians all came together and it took 20 something years or 30 something years, but now Canada is respected in basketball. But 20 years ago, no one respected Canadians as basketball players, you know? But now if you go anywhere and you say you play ball and you're Canadian, people will respect it. So we can have the same changes. We just have to keep going forward and getting to that perspective. So now I want to get into your coaching philosophy. After everything you've experienced, how would you describe your identity as a coach in one sentence? So, a better question is, what kind of players do you love coaching the most?
Well, coaches with discipline and coaches who are coachable with a very
No,
good
no, no. I'm
mindset.
saying for you as a coach, for you as a coach.
Uh,
Like some coaches, they like to coach players who all they do is work hard, get rebounds, they don't talk. They will be the hardest guy in the gym, but they don't talk trash, they don't do whatever. Some coaches, they like the dog, the guy who, coach, give me the ball in the last 5 seconds. I'll talk trash to the defender, but like I'm still here with the team. Some other coaches, they want you to be like 2015 Spurs. Everyone just pass the ball, run and cut. Don't say anything. Some coaches, Warriors, everyone's a shooter. Screen, 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 screen. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm asking you is, as a coaching philosophy, what would you say is your coaching philosophy? And just to throw a couple more examples, Syracuse in America, I'm not sure if they still do it now, but they're known to play 2-3 zone because Jim Boeheim was the coach of Syracuse for like 20 or 30 years. And he would always recruit the same type of player. 6'7", long, because everyone on the floor was 6'7" to 6'10", and they all played 2-3 zone defense. So when I ask you, what's your coaching philosophy? What kind of players do you like coaching most? Like, what would people say about Kebba's coaching? Like, if you have to be this type of player to play for Kebba, what type of player is that?
Well, I would like a player who plays like me, which is the Golden State Warriors, the way they play. Because
Okay.
in our team, that's how we play. Because
Okay.
sometimes I might be a player coach inside the game, and that's always how I want the guys to play with me.
High
Sports
IQ
and
guys, high
yes,
IQ
sports,
guys.
sports and Golden State basketball combined. Golden State basketball combined.
Okay. Okay. So
So
high
that's how
IQ
I feel like
guys, no egos. We share the ball. We don't care whose night it is. Set your
exactly.
screens, just let your playing do the talking.
It does not
That's
matter who's scoring. Just
nice.
find the open guy or find the
Nice.
hot hand. Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
it's a
I
team
feel
game.
like that
It's a
type
team
of
game.
coaching style works, like when you see March Madness every year, a lot of the teams that win, they have that coaching philosophy. Yes, they have stars and every team is gonna have their star, but you need a lot of guys, the others, the others. Everyone has to be an other. Everyone needs to be comfortable with that stuff. So I like to hear that. Then I guess you know, what is what's the bigger vision for you? What's the bigger vision for you? Is it building the best team in Gambia? Is it developing players abroad? Like you want to be like this many D1 players came out of Kebba Fowl's coaching, Or is it like you want to be like, Amadou Gallo Fall in BAL? You want to be in a
Yeah.
position like that? Is that your end goal? Do you want to be an NBA? Like, what is the bigger vision for you? That's my first question.
Uh, well, I just want to focus on developing grassroots basketball because I feel like it's the key thing in Gambia. Because like most of us played basketball late, you know. So, but what I want to focus on more is building the grassroots, trying to help coach the coaches, because I feel like to get better at building these grassroots, we need to help the other local coaches to teach these kids the modern way of basketball nowadays. You understand what I'm talking about? Because I might be a FIBA level one coach. Now, through the books, I might know how to go about the aging groups of the kids, but who knows? Because you could see on this side of this combo area, we have coaches, good coaches, but when you go the other side, like Basse and other regional areas, you have kids that want to play the game, but they don't know how
Mm,
because they don't have coaches that will know the steps to take to make them better players. So that's the reason why, for me, I want to focus more on the grassroots, and the culture of the game,
mhm.
and try to build a better structure out of it.
Okay. I mean, that's solid. I think the best point about what you made, and I never thought about it that way, people in Gambia do start playing ball very late. So if we just taught the next generation about it earlier, we would have a much better, talent pool for the next 20 years that could compete at the, continental and intercontinental level as well. Then I guess my second question to you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Bobby,
Yeah.
well, um, for now,
Yes, sir.
what I would say, I would just leave that one in the hands of God. But to be
Okay.
honest, yeah, I just want to keep on going in this track because I'm in a very funny position right now because I'm a certified FIBA referee and a coach as well. So I have to desire where to be.
Yeah.
Because I might not be playing in the next 2, 3 years to come.
Mm.
So which means I'll have to focus more on being a
Okay.
coach. So
No,
yeah,
I think it's solid, man. I think the most important thing, yo, is like understanding that the game doesn't leave. Yes, maybe our dreams adapt, but the game doesn't necessarily leave. So I think like your
yes,
story
yes.
is a very huge reminder that the game never leaves you. And if you're determined enough, you will always be a competitor in the game. But as you said, you gotta have the work ethic to be able to get that. So I guess I want to leave the final word to you. If a young kid in Gambia is watching this and they want to follow your story, what would you tell them?
Well, first of all, I would tell them to be disciplined. You gotta be disciplined. You gotta go to school, man. Education is very important, because you need that education in your game to get the IQ. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Be consistent, be coachable. Because it's not easy to be an athlete, you know. Because I'm gonna tell you, some of these kids be like, Coach, man, they said you're old and you're still playing. I'm like, nah, I'm not old. It's just that my work ethic, I'm trying to get back in shape. So you got to stick to everything that your coaches tell you to do because you need to be coachable. If you're not coachable, man, you're gonna play anywhere. You understand? Because at the end of the day, you need to have a very good attitude because it counts. No matter how good you are, if the attitude is not okay, you find it hard for coaches to play you. And I know some of these kids in Gambia, they want to go and play to the highest level. And that's what we want for them. Me personally, that's what I'm trying every single day to make sure, we train these kids so that whenever they go outside there, they try to compete at the highest level because we like those kind of things, because they don't know how is it out there. They just see it on TV. But like, how is it? They don't know.
Yeah. No, no, I get that. I get that. And I think that's one of the most important things about this type of conversation, right? Like understanding your discipline and understanding the importance of education because, if the game doesn't work out, school does a couple of things for you. But two things I want to highlight. School gives you the ability to at least think. You don't necessarily have to agree with everything you learn, but you can at least develop the ability to think about things critically, accept or reject things, create your own points of view. But the other thing that school does is it allows you connections. And now that I'm getting older, it's true what they say. In school, you are with the future of tomorrow, with the leaders of tomorrow, with the business people of tomorrow, with the people like you're with people who are changing the world. Doesn't matter what school it is. There's successful people that have come from every school on the planet. So what Keba is saying is incredibly important. So I hope you heed that, especially for us as Gambians. We know, the cards are stacked against us, but that doesn't mean we can't succeed. Sometimes in life, you have to say Alhamdulillah for whatever your situation is, or whatever it is you believe in, because there might not be a Gambian person watching this. Just say thank God for whatever it is, and you'll roll the punches. So, I'm really glad that we had you today, Keba. Great meeting you. You're a sick dude. I wish you all the best in your coaching and playing career.
Thank you,
I'm
bro.
sure when I get back to Gambia, we'll run those ones,
Inshallah.
and then I'll see what that work is like, bro. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in on the live chat or who tuned in on IG. Keba, if you want people to follow you, just quickly, let us know what your Instagram is. Let us know any projects to be on the lookout. Feel free to just, quickly plug yourself.
Thank you, bro.
All right. All right, y'all. Everyone take care. Have a good one. Peace. All right, my guy Kev, I'll catch you, eh? Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
got you, bro. Thank you very much,
Have a
man.
good one. Hey, let's talk soon. Stay in touch.
Inshallah, inshallah, bro.
Peace. Bye.